Viewers, when it comes to talking about issues that affect all of us, Times Now is always in the forefront. From yesterday, from day before yesterday, we have been focusing on this story. Why? Because it epitomizes everything that is wrong with the manner in which we as a society approach 50% of our population. Our mindset is so crippled by prejudice at one level, gender bias, that we can't even bring ourselves, viewers, to condemn something that is so dastardly, so perverted. Because, viewers, we don't take women's issues seriously. It's a fact. It's all out in the open now. Air India's infamous flasher was let off the hook by the airlines. I'm not saying it. The victim of this flasher's perversion has said it. And let's just bring in some of the facts onto the screen, not documents like that. Let's bring out the facts. Times Now has accessed the full complaint of the 74-year-old woman who was allegedly urinated upon, yes, viewers, urinated upon, by a co-passenger in the business class of the flight from New York to New Delhi. This person lives in Mumbai, is very well off. We even tracked his residence down. He's not to be found. The complaint suggests that this incident happened on 26 November, more than a month ago. But the alleged pervert, Shankar Mishra, was allowed to simply land and disappear. The crew didn't even complain about him, didn't hand him over to the CISF, which is a regulation. You are flashing a fellow passenger. It's sexual harassment. It's a crime under the IPC, a very serious one. But neither do you take down the complaint, neither do you hand over this person. On the contrary, the airline put the victim in the uncomfortable and untenable position of listening to the entreaties of her violator to effect a compromise. Apparently, the man sobered up after about 3 or 4 hours, realized what he had done wrong, begged the airline, told them who he was. Apparently, viewers, he's linked to a top aviation official of the past. So ranks close. And guess what the crew does? According to the complainant, brings this disgusting person in the presence of the victim so that he can beg her, appeal to her conscience and say, please spare me because my children and my wife, what will they think of me? Can you believe it, viewers, this sick man? And this airline, I mean, disgusted and distraught, the victim wrote an email to Air India but received no reply. She was forced to write to the Tata Sons chairperson directly of her ordeal. Only then, 32 days later, did the airlines reluctantly approach the police. But to understand the gravity of this man's perversion, hear what the woman has said in her complaint. Just listen.
A male business class passenger seated in 8A walked to my seat completely inebriated. He unzipped his pants and urinated on me and kept standing there till the person next to me tapped him and told him to go back to his seat. Then he staggered back to his seat. I immediately got up and notified the stewardess. My clothes, shoes and bag were soaked in urine. The crew spread sheets on the seat, but it was still damp and reeking of urine. I refused to sit there. The crew told me that the pilot had vetoed giving me a seat in first class. I asked the staff for a change of seat, but was told that no other seat was available. I told them that I wanted the man arrested immediately. After sobering up, the crew brought the man to me. He started crying and profusely apologizing to me, begging me not to lodge a complaint. He said he's a family man and did not want his wife and child to be affected by this. I was made to confront and negotiate with the perpetrator of this horrific incident in close quarters. In my own shock and trauma, I found it difficult to insist on his arrest or to press charges against him. After deboarding, no one came to take down my complaint. I waited for 30 minutes and left. Air India crew was deeply unprofessional, and there are also a number of failures. I emailed the complaint to Air India on 27th of November, but they have not acted yet.
Viewers, searing questions that we have been asking have finally led to someone waking up. The airline regulator, the DGCA, has now shot off a show cause notice and says prima facie all aviation rules on handling an unruly passenger were flouted. The fact is Air India too big to be brought to book? And why is it that no one has done so with alacrity? Why has it taken this huge explosion in the media, especially here on Times Now, to direct attention? I talked about this story yesterday, viewers. Let me just tell you a few more details. And I want to bring in Bhavtosh Singh, who has been able to now get us more details about this person, this pervert, this alleged pervert. Let me be a little more safe, viewers, because in this country, they shoot the messenger. So even though he was seen by others, I would still call him an alleged pervert, because who knows how powerful he is. If an airline could let go of him, then think about what others must be thinking. Now, Bhavtosh, we've tracked down this person. Give us a few details about him. Who is he?
Well, the accused in this case, or the suspect in this case, is in the age group of mid-30s to early 40s. He's a vice president of a multinational company, and according to the police, they had to go through the passenger manifest to identify him, and then subsequently they spoke to some of the staff members who were in fact on this flight which took off from JFK Airport and landed at Indira Gandhi International Airport on 27th of November, because it took off on 26th of November from JFK Airport. What the police have said is that there was considerable delay of 32 days on the part of the airline to even send this complaint. Having said that, the police have also said that the woman said that they should treat the complaint that she had given to the top executive of the airline as her complaint. More importantly, they have said that they are telephonically in touch with the woman, and the various sections of IPC that have been added in this FIR. The police have said that they want to make this case such that their exemplary punishment is given to the accused. Senior officers have also said, Rahul, that if the police have acted with the electory in the first place, then they would be in a position of filing a charge sheet in this case, not arresting the accused. Remember, the incident happened way back in November 26, and we are here on the 5th of January.
Yeah.
So that's the delay we are talking about here.
Absolutely. Completely. I mean, which Tora Bora cave is this man hiding in? He's supposed to be a high-flying executive. His photo should have been plastered by now, released to the media. But there still appears to be someone trying to shield this person. Why isn't he being named? That's the fundamental question. And let's open this up, because we have with us, of course, taking up for the public, Advaita Kala, author and women activist, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. And we have representing the industry, Captain Amit Singh, founder, Safety Matters Foundation, NGO, and Neetu Shukla, former Kingfisher employee. Now, I want to begin with you first. Yes, okay, Dr. Ranganathan, you're raising your hand. What would you like to say?
No, I'm sorry. I normally would have allowed you to, but it's just, I mean, I am suffering in rage here. The primer that you showed is just unbearable. So I'm not talking to you right now, Rahul. Pardon me. I'm not talking to the viewers. I am looking at and talking directly to the Civil Aviation's Minister, Mr. Scindia. I'm talking to you, Mr. Scindia, and I have this to say. If on 26th of November 2022, a female cabinet minister were to go to New York on this same Air India flight to attend a UN conference, and a man had walked up to her in business class and urinated on her, would you or DGCA or the airlines have waited for 40 days? Would you?
No. I'll tell you no. Important people, when they're ill-treated on airlines, get immediate justice. And important people also get immediate cover. That's the story. Viewers, that's always been the story. And that's why, since the morning, since last night, we have been asking the Civil Aviation Ministry and the Minister to step into this. That's why we have his visuals on the extreme right of your screens, viewers. Because the airline doesn't think it's important. Comes from a group that prides in itself in representing the highest ideals. It values, it says, many moral and righteous ideals. But look at this, viewers. Look at this. A man unzips himself. He exposes himself. He is inebriated. He urinates. He micturates. And he's allowed to walk away just because he happens to be related to someone powerful. We know who it is. Not only should that person who is powerful come out, but viewers, this person's photograph should be made available. Should be made available.
Airlines, Rahul, for a month. Ground the airlines for a month, minimum.
I want to ask, that's the point I wanted to ask, to get to actually. I wanted to ask the captain, Captain Amit Singh, surely strictest action must be taken. What action should be taken? What should it look like? Captain, first of all, tell us, what are the various regulations that have been and guidelines that have been violated by the airline? And then tell us where and how it should be punished for this.
Well, let's start from the top. The purpose of having a Ministry of Civil Aviation is not to regulate or micromanage the airlines, but to make policies. There are international regulations to which India is a signatory. And an important regulation like the Montreal Convention of 2014 has not been signed or ratified by India. We are still working with the Tokyo Convention of 1963. So there are more complications to it. If such an incident happens on an American aircraft landing into India, India will have no jurisdiction at present. It happened in Air India. So globally, if you see in US between 2014 and 17, the number of sexual harassment cases have doubled from 36 to 78. So there is a global trend. IATA, the international body, has said that unruly passenger is the biggest threat. So it is even bigger than a technical fault or weather-related diversion. So more diversions and action has been taken inside the aircraft because of the humans. And it could be different levels of unruly passengers. So India, regulation-wise, is far behind. We are just being able to handle
No, sir. You see, all this airline regulation, let's not. I'll tell you what, Captain. I'll break it down for you. I want Advaita Kala on this. I'll tell you what. You see, if you're an accomplice to an act of sexual deprivation, a sexual crime, then Advaita Kala, where does that leave the person who's the accomplice? So here is a crime of a sexual nature. Let's not make excuses for these inebriated chaps. Urinating on somebody, you know where that comes from. You know the kind of mindset that so wants to, I'm afraid, belittle somebody. This is a crime of power. let's face it, it is just as bad as violating someone's physical being. So, Advaita Kala, this is a sexual crime. And if someone has tried to cover it up or distance themselves from it or not report it, what is the punishment?
First of all, I want to talk about the crime. You're absolutely right. It's a crime of complete and utter degradation. And it is very targeted. And that is what is frightening because, you know, I've been on this route many times. It's a very long flight. It's 16 hours. So you are actually, think about it from the perspective of the victim. This is the 70-year-old lady who was urinated upon. She is stuck in this metal tube for hours and hours. Usually, as women, we face these situations, I'm sorry to say, in all walks of life, in all spaces. But on a plane, she has nowhere to go. She's stuck with this pervert on that flight for the entire duration, for hours and hours. And look at how they compound her trauma. They make her confront this man, have a conversation with him, so that she doesn't even have any way of getting away from him. Ideally, he should have been kicked out of that area, kicked out of that cabin and parked somewhere at the rear of the plane, isolated from her. They don't do that. They don't move her to a space which is not urine drenched, which is safe, where she physically feels safe. Can you imagine being on a flight and having to feel physically safe in your personhood? That is what they have put her through on this flight. What kind of handling is this? It's a complete breakdown of every tenet in the book when it comes to handling something which is a sexual crime, when it comes to customer service, when it comes to ensuring the security of a passenger. It's a failure on every count.
Someone needs to go to jail. Dr. Ranganathan, it's not just about a month grounding an airline. The top executives need to be jailed for their part in this.
Yes.
They need to be jailed.
Yes.
This is a sexual act that was being covered up. The person who violates is then brought, who poses a threat, is then brought before the victim.
So painful. I can't imagine.
I mean,
it's just
it is,
crazy. It's just
there is degradation and there is
bizarre.
humiliation and degradation and victimization, and it just goes on. Advaita Kala, you're absolutely right, and I want to bring in the Kingfisher employee. 1 second, just 1 second.
Every member of the flight crew must be arrested.
Yeah,
Every member of the flight
I think this needs to go further up. Apparently, the pilot, knowing fully well, this is what the complainant has said. The pilot allegedly, even though there was a seat and a fellow passenger pointed it out, that there was a seat in first class, the victim says, the pilot said, no, can't give it to you.
My God, this is just, I can't believe.
Neetu Shukla,
just crazy.
You've been a former Kingfisher employee. How does an air crew become so insensitive? How does this happen? Is there pressure here? Do you think there's something more at play?
It's very shocking. And, you know, apart from the passenger behavior, which I thought would never happen or I'd never seen, I can't really say it's a one-off incident because now we know that the same incident was repeated on a Paris-Mumbai flight. So we know that within 10 days of this incident, the incident has repeated again. It's nice that because of social media and the media, these cases are coming to light. There have been various kinds of cases, but this kind of lackluster response from the airline completely, from the crew right up till the chairman, because even the chairman had the letter the very next day. This complete breakdown of taking action or even responding, I'm shocked. I'm amazed and I'm shocked that this sort of behavior can actually go through. You know, a voyage report is written and sent out the day of the flight.
Yes.
That means the entire management is privy to the incident. Nobody can really claim not to know what happened.
And apparently, PTI
the captain
reports.
And the crew are at
listen
fault,
to me.
And there is
Apparently,
no doubt
PTI
about it,
reports.
but this was all the way to the chairman. in because
one
he had
second,
the
Ms.
letter.
Shukla, absolutely. The chairman, I don't know, many more officials, the managers, all of them, the line man. Let me tell you, viewers, PTI has reported that another incident of this kind has taken place.
This is crazy. I don't know what is happening.
And it will. More will take place, viewers, because there is a complete laissez-faire attitude. Sickness is being covered up. Perversion is being covered up. The perverts are emboldened.
Where is the civil aviation's minister?
Well, no minister and no DGCA regulator. They've issued some show cause. 2 weeks have been given. Is it all? You see, they're just waiting, viewers, for the media to forget about this. It falls off the headline, that poor lady and the other. And we'll get to the bottom of the second case also. These victims will be forgotten. And this pervert, alleged pervert, because, you know, today, viewers, as I've told you, they come for you. They come for the messenger. They don't want you to report all this stuff. So they sue you, they'll do this, that, the other. They'll victimize. This is what's going to happen. It's absolutely disgusting. Where does this leave the nation's image? Where does this leave the promise of securing women in this country? Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's all demand action. Viewers, I leave it at that. But we're going to take this story forward through the evening. Till this person is not arrested, till the people who are complicit are not arrested.